We're in buffers. Buffers prevent the change of pH. And pH is due to the concentration of the hydrogen ion. Therefore, buffer can either remove the hydrogen ion or add more hydrogen ion into the solution. So the most important function of buffer is prevent change of the pH. In the body, because when the pH change, it can denature protein, and the whole body is made of protein. So you need the pH to be very stable in the body. That's why we have buffers, prevent the change of the pH. And like this is the buffer used in the body, the bicarbonate, and it's come from CO2. So when your cells produce CO2 and your body have water, and when the CO2 dissolve in water become carbonic acid, and it will dissociate because it's a weak acid. When it dissociate, become hydrogen ion and bicarbonate. So bicarbonate can work as a buffer because when you have a lot of hydrogen, it will bind with bicarbonate, produce carbonic acid. So it can remove the hydrogen. When you look at this equation, it can remove the hydrogen. And when you don't have enough hydrogen, the carbonic acid can dissociate, produce hydrogen and bicarb. So it can go in either one direction. And it can remove hydrogen or add hydrogen back. So together, it can help to maintain the hydrogen concentration, which helps you to maintain the pH. And in the body, we have three very important buffers. Bicarbonate, we just talked about it. This is one, and you will learn this when you go to AP2, how your red blood cell help to use the CO2 and produce the bicarbonate. The other two are phosphate group, which also have the same function, remove hydrogen or add hydrogen back. So it can maintain pH. It can work as a buffer. And the third one is protein. And since your whole body is made of protein, it can really help you to maintain pH. So how do we measure pH? We have those tests, pH strip. You just dip into the solution and it will change color. And then based on the color, it will tell you the pH. So we can easily measure the pH. Okay, now let's look at the salt. The salt. When you add salt into water, it will dissociate because they connect by the ionic bond. So they will break the ionic bond, become ion. So when you put salt in water, they usually stay in the ion state. So you have the potassium chloride, you add into water, become potassium ion and chloride ion. And when you add acid and the base together, what happens is they will become water and salt. So this process is called the neutralization. When you add acid and the base together, it's called the neutralization. They will produce salt and water. So what happens is like this picture, it shows you have hydrochloric acid and NaOH together. This is very acidic, this is very basic. And when you put them together, suddenly they switch. It's like a Lego. You switch the Lego. We put together, okay, they become NaCl. NaCl is a salt. And then this part become H2O. H2O is water. So neutralization, very acidic hydrochloric acid, pH is very low. And NaOH, pH is very high. When you add them together, becomes salt and water, and the pH is 7. So this process called neutralization. You can neutralize acid and the base. So this is another example. You use the weak acid. You still have the neutralization process, produce a salt and water. So in the body, when you produce too many stomach acid, which is hydrochloric acid, you can drink this, the milk of magnesia, and help you to neutralize stomach acid. The same principle. They use the basic solution and neutralize the acid, becomes salt and water. So it's a neutralization process. And the salt, when it dissolve in water, become ion. And ions, another name of ion, his fancy name is called electrolytes. So electrolytes is exactly the same as ion, just a different name of the ion. We call them electrolytes. And electrolytes has very important function in the body. When you go to AP2, AP1, AP2, you will learn how the cells, this cell called neuron, that's the cell in your brain, and also the cell in your heart, the cardiac muscle, they can produce electrical signal. And they basically just use those ions because ions have charge. So when they flow in, flow out of the cell, and the charged particle flow, that's current. So that's how your body produces electrical current. So those ions, and also called electrolytes, are super important in human body. That's why those companies, they sell you sports drink. They will tell you, okay, they have a lot of electrolytes in a sports drink, and it will keep you healthy, which is correct. But actually, you don't need to buy those sports drink because you learned electrolytes are actually salt. These are the electrolytes. So you can drink water, or if you are severely dehydrated in the summer, you can add a little bit salt into the water, and you have electrolytes water. You actually don't need to buy those sports drink, especially they have sugar inside, will give you calories. So function of electrolytes are very important in human body. All these are the functions of electrolytes. And we also said, okay, well, in the body, electrolytes, you need it to produce current. So in we talk about neurons. Neurons, they produce current. So in your brain, you actually have a small current. And this current need to be balanced. It could not be too small. Too small, you are brain dead. It could not be too big. Too big is a disease called epilepsy. There's too much current in your brain. So the same for your muscle. Muscle also produce electrical signal. And your heart also produce electrical signal. So this electrical signal is very famous because when you put electrode on the chest, you can record those electrical signal. It's called the EKG. It's written as ECG, but everyone pronounces it as an EKG, means C means cardio. So apparently those electrolytes, their concentration need to be just right if it's part of homeostasis. So their concentration need to be correct. And if their concentration go off too much, it can make you sick. Or the worst scenario, you can die because of it. So how the Texas performed death penalty used to use this way. They give you 3 solutions. Pentobarbital is make the person sleep. Another medicine paralyze the muscle. And the one really kill the person is potassium, high dosage of potassium. Because potassium's supposed to be high inside the cell, right? The ICF, intracellular fluid, we talk about it, supposed to be high potassium. But when you IV inject a high dosage of potassium in this person's blood, it makes the ECF, extracellular fluid, high potassium, which will prevent the potassium flow. Potassium is supposed to flow out of the cell. And then it totally messes up the potassium's concentration difference between the ECM and ICF. Then it will stop the EKG. So the heart will stop. And when the heart stops, the person die. So the worst scenario is you can make the person really sick or even die. So the electrolytes play a very important role in the human body, and their concentration need to be correct. Okay, let's stop here.